For truth and diversity, come to Radio Simi.
Hey everyone, welcome to Radio Simi. I'm your host, Aleyah Ewing.
And I'm your guest co-host, Isabella Vogelaar.
This week we'll be finally interviewing Park Board member Kate O'Brien, going over the latest news and some more Simi Valley updates.
If you have any ideas, suggestions, or if you want to come on our show, reach out to us at tiny.cc/radiosimiforum.
We also want to say thank you because Radio Simi has been downloaded 744 times since our creation about 60 days ago. We also have 8 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and will be featured in the VC Star next week. Make sure to keep up with our website where you can check out our upcoming guest speakers like California Senator Henry Stern, former Mayor Bob Huber, and many other elected officials and local community members. So, stay tuned. Here's some updates about what's going on in Simi Valley and the greater area. Monta Vista is hosting a virtual showcase on Wednesday, April 28th at 6 p.m. For more information on how to participate in the showcase, go to montavista.simivalleyusd.org. The Little Caesars on Tapo Canyon has closed or moved, so if you need any of your $5 hot and ready pizzas, make sure to go to the one on LA Avenue. This Saturday and Sunday, Smart and Final is hosting an electronic recycle drive. They are located right next to Teresa's and Presto Pasta on Erringer and LA if you need to recycle any of your old electronics. The Park Board discussed Earth Day activities at last night's meeting, and they settled on a scavenger hunt and possible poetry competition for this April. They will all be social distance activities and DIY capable for the community. The Indian Community Center and the Simi Valley Hindu Temple are joining together to hold a charity event for the homeless in Simi. Volunteers will deliver dinner at the Samaritan Center on the corner of Royal and Madera on Thursday, February 25th. 805 Resistance is holding 2 events this Saturday. They'll be hosting a Facebook Live at 12:30 p.m. to talk about the current state of affairs on racial issues and safe spaces for Black folks in local activism. They'll also be hosting their monthly volunteer and subcommittee meeting at 3 p.m. To learn more, visit 805resistance.org. SVUSD is hosting a parent information night called Vaping, What Parents Need to Know. It's this Wednesday, February 24th at 6:30 p.m. You can find the link to the online event on the Simi Valley Unified School District's Facebook page. Next, we'll be joined with Adam Fusich telling us about why Simi Valley is so windy.
With the winds having picked up across our city recently, I think that gives us a great opportunity to look into why Simi is always so windy. Simi Valley sits between 3 major areas responsible for making our wind: the California coast, the Mojave Desert, and the Sierra Mountains. From the east, we get the Santa Ana winds. These are most often the strongest winds we'll feel here, and they come from the desert. The hot environment of the desert heats the air, creating an area of high pressure, while the water from the coast cools down the air, creating an area of low pressure. This is usually a giant difference in pressure, meaning the winds are usually super strong. The air then flows from the desert to the coast, but the Sierras block the wind from going over them, so the wind will split. Some of the wind will head north, and some of it will come down south to us. The wind will fly south along the mountains until it gets to the Antelope Valley near Lancaster. It then comes southwest, and the valleys, including Simi, of the area are like wind tunnels, making the wind even stronger. So when it gets to us, we get windstorms that blow power lines down. The second, less strong, but more often, source of wind comes from the ocean. The ocean currents of the Pacific turn clockwise, which then pushes the winds as well. When it gets to the California coast, the wind that does not follow that current spills over, blowing southeast all along the coast, giving us our famous Simi Valley winds. So next time you go outside and feel the cool breeze, you might just be blown away with its awesome story.
Oh, have a happy birthday from Radio Simi.
Happy birthday to my friends Ruth Levinas and Cynthia Owen Cole, as well as to my cousin Destiny Ewing. Also, a happy birthday to the inspiring Christiana that has gone from a runaway teen struggling with mental health to a straight A student and peer mentor, all while the pandemic has been going on. Her parents are throwing her a birthday car parade at 2806 Rock Street. It's the neighborhood behind the Green Acres and the El Capitan restaurant. Any classic and muscle cars, Harleys, lowriders, loud trucks, and loud stereo systems would be greatly appreciated, but of course everyone is welcome. Meet at the Simi Elementary School parking lot at 2:50 p.m. this Saturday.
Here are your COVID-19 updates. There are 197 new COVID-19 cases as of February 18th. 75% of ventilators are now available, and there's a 16.3% adult ICU bed availability across the county. Here's some more job opportunities in Simi Valley. Coco's is looking for a full-time host. Ulta Beauty is looking for a full-time merchandise and service coordinator. Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District is looking for a part-time golf assistant paying $14 an hour. Another golf assistant, Ryan Pavich, was just awarded Employee of the Month at last night's board meeting. The City of Simi Valley is hiring a full-time administrative assistant. The recruitment will close March 3rd at 5 p.m. or whenever 75 applications are received. You can apply at calopps.org/simi-valley/job-20086-979.
Here's what's going on in local politics. I'm sure many of us have heard about the recent hate speech in Simi. On a nationwide scale, we've been seeing hate crimes left and right, especially against the Jewish and Asian communities. Recently, here in Simi, we've had 4 similar incidents. 1 was anti-Black and 3 were anti-Semitic. The first incident took place a few weeks ago when there was a man photographed shopping in our Trader Joe's with a t-shirt that read, "Keep calm, it's just a Jew flu." In the next few days, anti-Semitic stickers were posted around Simi Valley in different locations. When the t-shirt incident was brought to the police's attention, it was said that there wasn't enough information to conduct an investigation. Very similar to other reports of hate speech. As Bernie from The Incredibles would say,
Coincidence? I think not!
Then, of course, as the stickers were found and the police faced public backlash, they decided to open an investigation but have found no further information. Last week, 5 boys were photographed next to graffiti on the wall. The graffiti was a stick figure being hung by a noose with the N-word and arrow pointing next to it. This graffiti was removed this Monday. The public became aware of it after someone shared the images on the social media platform Nextdoor. When the incident first came to light, SVPD stated it had no plans to investigate the crime and that nothing could be done because it wasn't considered a crime against the city. That was, of course, until they faced public backlash. They then decided to conduct an investigation, then concluded the investigation, and took credit for wanting to investigate it. The kids were all under 14, so of the 5 kids, only 1 spray painted, but all 5 kids were present during the crime. The police are requesting that the child who spray painted the wall be required to participate in a cultural awareness program. They also recommended that the parents of the other 4 children attend the same program. The school resource officer, Jean Collado, was the one investigating the crime. The bottom of the Nixon report states that SVPD condemns racism, racist actions, and hate speech. I think that this is interesting considering that a few months back, the same officer, Jean Collado, posed for a photo next to a young child holding a Blue Lives Matter flag while the kid's shirt had a depiction of a machine gun. That doesn't seem very anti-racist to me. The city manager then released a statement on the 16th saying that the city of Simi Valley condemns hate activity. For some reason, in the first sentence, Brian Gabler felt the need to include the words racially diverse as if this had some nullifying effect to the racism it displayed. I also gotta laugh at the last paragraph. I mean, he wrote, "The city council as a body and its individual members condemn racism, racist action, and hate speech," as if that's not the most oxymoronic statement I've ever heard in my life. Has Brian Gabler been watching the city council meetings? Because to say that the city council condemns racism is a bald-faced lie. They showcase their racism in every meeting. You just need to pay attention. Another embarrassing moment for Ventura County happened again this week at one of our local colleges. Professor Michael Abram at the Oxnard Community College was caught on video harassing a deaf student for not responding fast enough. The student clarified that she had a translator, so she gets the information slower than the rest of the class, but the professor continued to harass her anyway. Here's a clip of what was said.
Miss Salazar, I've been talking to you, Miss Salazar.
No, I can hear you a little bit.
You can hear me a little bit? Why didn't you answer all the times I spoke to you then? Thank you. Thank you. Why don't we talk sometimes? Why don't you email me? We'll set up a live Zoom, and we're going to have some real communication at some point in time, okay? Maybe you can have your counselor join us, okay? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Do that.
Professor, she's actually hard of hearing, so her translator goes in a little bit late. She can't respond, right away.
She's not paying attention. She's not trying. Are you her translator, Abigail?
No, I'm not by
Translator, but I have a translator next to me.
It's slower on her end because she needs to get it translated, and then it goes to her hearing piece.
Okay.
So hers.
Ms. Salazar, have your counselor speak with me because you've got too much distraction to even understand what's going on.
Yes, I do, because my translator is next to me explaining me everything that he's saying.
Okay.
So
Then maybe just have them teach you the whole class. That makes sense to me.
This is disgusting and abhorrent behavior. Any reprimand other than firing Michael Abram is not sufficient enough. This professor is an embarrassment to our county, and he should never be allowed to teach at this college, or any VC college for that matter, ever again. The Ventura County Community College District released a statement to all students and faculty. They wrote, "The VCCD became aware of an incident with a faculty member at one of our colleges. The district is responding immediately and has initiated an investigation. VCCD Board of Trustees and leadership at Moorpark, Oxnard, and Ventura Colleges honor, respect, and will protect the rights and challenges of everyone." These are nice words, but they're super vague. I understand that the VCCD has put him on paid administrative leave, but this is not enough. The Oxnard Community College needs to fire this deplorable professor. He was caught on camera, so there is no excuse for the VCCD to not fire him after watching his reckless and oppressive behavior. And yes, I would call that oppressive behavior. I call it that because when professors hold a certain power over their students, for one to abuse that power to publicly shame a disabled student and stifle their class participation, which could then affect their grade, is oppressive in nature. We need to hold ableist people and systems accountable to truly create an inclusive environment in higher education. I'm asking that you call Laura Barrasso, the District Administrative Center Vice Chancellor and Human Resources, at 805-652-5506 to demand that VCCD fires Michael Abram. You can also email her at lbarroso@vccd.edu. Next, we'll be interviewing Park Board member Kate O'Brien.
Hello there, how are you?
Hi, I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. I don't do this kind of thing very often, so, you know.
Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I will. I moved to Simi Valley in 1997, and I am a civil structural engineer in private practice. I've been self-employed since 94, and it all ties into kind of how I wound up down here. It's a long story. So, and I'm sort of morphing into retirement right now. I'm cutting back on work and all of that because I've been doing this for quite a long time. I've been working for a long time and saving up for retirement. So, okay, I think the time is here. So that's one thing about me. Another thing, I've been on the board for 20 years now, and it doesn't really seem like 20 years, but it has been. So there it is. So yeah, I don't know where the time goes. What else happens? I never had kids. I mean, it was on the list, and I just didn't get around to it in time, so it just didn't happen. But I like kids. I am in a long-term relationship with a man I met on a stealth date with friends. Friends fixed us up without me knowing it. It was a stealth date, so, and we hit it off great, and we're still together, and it's nice. Going on 12 years now. And I guess that's it.
So Kathleen Capella, she's one of our donors, and one of the benefits that our donors get is that they get to ask questions of the people we interview. So she submitted this question. When she was a kid, North Hollywood Park had lots of free activities for school-aged kids, everything from ceramics to arts and crafts, ping pong tournaments, drama clubs, storytelling, and other things. Are there any plans to provide healthy and fun activities for our youth where no one will be turned away because of lack of financial resources?
That's great. Oh, do we have something like that? We have, we offer a discount to like nonprofits. I know our after school club has a low income component. Beyond that, though, we really don't. We tend to keep our fees in line with things like the YMCA and the Boys and Girls Club and those things. It's, sort of competitive with them. I think once things get back to normal, that might be a good thing to explore. That would be a good option to explore. See if we can swing that after things get back to normal. Like right now, everything is with the pandemic, everything is locked down anyway, and so nobody knows anything at this point. So
That leads great into my next question, which is how has the pandemic affected the Park District?
it has affected us. We've had to shut down a lot of things, and we have a lot of employees working from home. You go into the activity center, and it is people are working from home, and it's quite deserted. It has affected us financially because we haven't had the revenue that we normally have. On the other hand, we also haven't had as much overhead because we've had fewer activities now with less overhead. So we're hanging in there and we're watching finances, and it's been stressful for us and for everyone else, So, and it's been almost a year too. I don't think anybody expected it to last this long. I mean, mid-March of last year, that's almost a year ago now. Tomorrow's February. So, yeah, it's affected us, but we are hanging in. I will say at each of our meetings, our director, our district manager, gives an update on COVID and what we know now about COVID and the news. So that's part of our regular meeting now. So if you'd like to tune into the Zooms and check that out, that'd be great.
What's your favorite memory from being on the park board?
I have a lot of really good memories, but if I had to pick one that really stands out, it would be creating the Amanda McPherson softball park for girls. Now, I don't know if you guys know who Amanda McPherson was. She was this little girl who loved softball. She just loved to play softball. And tragically, she had the heart condition or something and died at a very young age, like 8 or 9. And her family decided to create a softball park to honor her memory and make softball available to girls because they didn't really have a softball park in town before that. So they came to us and said, you have a property up there that we can use. It'll work. We want to raise money for it. At the moment, we have raised zero because we need you on board to raise money. It was kind of a catch-22. We hadn't budgeted for this particular park at that time. Usually we need some advance notice if we're going to put something in the next year's budget, and we had not gotten that. So we had no funds available. They had no funds, but they wanted to go ahead with it. And I voted for it, but I was a little nervous, and I mentioned that during the presentation. I said, I love what you guys are doing. I think this is wonderful. I want us to do it. I am really scared about going forward with something where we don't have the money put aside. That's how governments and cities and counties get themselves into trouble, is by overextending themselves. I said, however, I'm looking at your data here, and you have a really good track record for fundraising. So I'm a little more comfortable than I would have been otherwise. So what they did is we said, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get on board and say, yeah, we're there, we'll match, etc. They raised like $350,000 or 300 or 350. I can't remember the exact number because it was a while back, but and they said, here, okay. And so we threw some money into, we opened up that wonderful park up near the dock park. If you've been there, go check it out if you haven't. It's great. I think the whole way that came about is probably one of my favorite memories. It's one of the things that reminds me of why we do this, why we try to make the community good for everyone. So I guess that would be if I had a favorite memory, which I guess I do, I guess that's it.
That's great. What are your top 3 priorities as a park board member?
Well, first of all, it's giving the taxpayers and the constituents the best possible value for their money, their tax dollars. They don't have a choice on property taxes, really. So, I mean, we get some of that. We're like 60% property tax. Under normal conditions, we're like 60%, maybe 2/3 property taxes and 1/3 fees for services, revenues. I want to give the taxpayers and the citizens best possible value for their money that we can, and that is hard. It's hard because we have unlimited wants chasing too few dollars, too few resources, which is true of anything. There's unlimited demands and limited resources. How do you allocate the resources? Families do that. Everybody does that, so it's nothing new. But that's always a challenge. Keep doing that and find ways to improve that. Get through this pandemic issue would be another priority, another thing I want to manage. Those are two anyway. I haven't thought of a third one really, but those two are very big. So,
what made you decide to run for park board?
Well, there's a lot of reasons. I've always been involved in the community, even before I moved to Simi Valley. I lived in Menlo Park, California, which is up near on the northern end of Silicon Valley. And even then, I just tend to get involved in things in the community. I was a member of the chamber, and I was on the arts commission. And there's always 80% of life is showing up, and I would show up to things and say, "Oh, this activity, this opportunity looks really cool. I'm gonna do it," and I would do it. It would be fun. And it's sort of because my day job is such that I'm sitting in front of a computer all day, not interacting with people except online, and that gets isolating and difficult. It's gotten worse now with the pandemic, but even before that, it was isolating and difficult. And you crave, human interaction. So going out and volunteering for this kind of stuff helped keep me sane, and it helped, I help make the world a better place if I'm doing stuff for the community. So when I moved down here, I just had the same attitude. So I showed up at Rotary, and I go to chamber events. And I was involved in the National Association of Women in Construction for a while too, which was a lot of fun. So it was just kind of grew out of that. I think it's just some people are joiners and some people are not, and they're both valid positions. It's just that's who I am.
What are you most excited about in your upcoming park board member term?
Getting back to normal. To be honest, that's the thing that really excites me. The longer this goes on, the more excited I am about just getting everything back to normal. We didn't realize that we had it, how good we had it. Probably noticed that too. It's like, even as we got to show up at meetings, you could go hug someone. If you ran into someone was there, you'd hug them. Now you can't do that now. Don't have to wear a mask. Go to chamber events, go to Rotary events. Can't do that right now, and that's getting harder and harder. It's dragging on too long. So it's the thing that makes me most excited is getting all of that back, seriously. And going to meetings and having people show up in the audience and get up and talk, and that's good.
Is there anything else you want to say?
I can't really think of anything. No, it's just, it's just, like I said, getting back to normal. If you have any other questions to ask me, you can.
I actually don't have any other questions. Normally when we usually ask about 4 questions because people take about 5 minutes to answer each question, and that averages out to like a 20-minute interview for us to edit in.
Oh, so
we're answering them so fast. I was running out of I was making up questions as you were answering them.
Let me talk about stuff.
Okay.
All right. What do you want to talk about? What's on your mind? Tell me.
I don't know. I just I really want to learn more about because I didn't really know anything about the park board really until I found out that Dayton's uncle was a park board member. And so his uncle is Brian Denner. I don't know if you.
Oh, right. No, I didn't know that. Okay.
But I kind of want to know because I didn't know anything about the park board or what it does or what it is. So would you mind speaking a little bit about that?
Yes, I will. Special districts in general. A lot of California has like 2,200 or something special districts. Now, special district is like a school district, um, and they're formed like to cover a specific thing like parks and recreation or sanitation or water delivery. You know, when you have a group of people, when you start like 100 years ago, even when people started settling, you know, and building towns, and they need some way to get the water to. They need some way to have sewage managed. They need like streets. They need street lights. They need all of fire protection. All this stuff. And if you're not an incorporated city, you need some kind of government agency to take care of that. So that's kind of how special districts started. You get somebody taking care of recreational parks, somebody taking care of fire protection, mosquito abatement, healthcare. And then sometimes cities, you know, incorporate, and sometimes the city will take all of that over. And sometimes the city will say, "Now you guys got this. You keep it up. You keep on with the special districts." And so as a result of all of those kinds of local political things going on, California has like 2,200 special districts. Maybe it's 2,000 now. I'm not really sure. So that's Park District is one of those things. I didn't realize that when I first moved to Simi either. And sometimes people still don't realize that we're a special district. The city gets calls about the parks all the time, and they say, well, you need to call the Park District. Here they are, they're separate. So we're a separate entity, but we partner with the city a lot and the Watershed Protection District. So, you know, we can join forces and partner on things, and so that's, yeah. So a lot of, like I said, a lot of people do not know that. So, you know, don't feel bad, you know. Our current park district, we have like 60 parks, and we cover 146,000 constituents, I think. Simi Valley and the surrounding area, and also Oak Park. And the reason we go over the hill to Oak Park, and the reason we do that is because the original Simi Valley School District also encompassed Oak Park. And so when they formed the park district, they just went with the same outline as the school district. The Oak Park School District has since broken off on its own, but we still have the park district boundary. So there's that. Does that confuse you more, or does that answer your question?
No. It definitely answered my question.
Good.
So would you mind talking to me a little bit about the Santa Susana Field Lab? I don't know if that like falls under like your jurisdiction, or if you know anything about
Really
that.
fall under our jurisdiction, but it doesn't really fall under our jurisdiction. It was owned by Rocketdyne, I believe, was it not? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then let me ask a different question. Can you tell me a little bit about the layout of the park board? So like how many park board members there are, and like the hierarchy, how you guys make decisions, how can people get involved?
Oh, okay, that's easy. First of all, there's 5 members, and we're not districted yet, although now that the city is, we may end up starting district elections. We haven't been, ever. And we cover the whole, like I said, the whole park district, which is Simi, Oak Park, and the surrounding unincorporated areas. We hire the general counsel and the district manager. And the district manager, rather than micromanage at lower levels, the district manager does, you know, hires all of the other personnel and does the hiring, firing, all of that. So we have 5 of us. We have 1 district manager. We have the district council. We have, I think, 80 full-time employees and 200 or 300 part-time. We do a lot of part-time hiring because a lot of people, a lot of kids in college come back for the summer and are lifeguards, and we have part-time for after-school club. The after-school club employees are often part-time. So, and we have probably a list of probably 700 or 800 volunteers. So the way to get involved, well, first of all, to get involved, start coming to our meetings or attending the Zooms at the moment. And speak up if you have an issue. We can't, now if it's not agendized, we can't talk about it at the meeting. And the reason for that is the Brown Act is to keep transparency, is to keep open meetings open and meeting business from being done secretly. So we have to post the agenda 72 hours in advance, and we can't, you can get up and talk at the microphone for 2 minutes about, or 3 minutes. I guess it's 3 minutes usually. about something that you want us to look at, and we can take note of it and put it on a future agenda. And then what we usually do is take your contact information, and when it's on the agenda, we contact you and let you know it'll be on the agenda on this date, so you can come and speak to it if you want. So that's a start. That's a good way to get involved. Another way to get involved is to volunteer. We our director of she just retired. She was I can't remember her title, but she just retired. She started as a volunteer, and then she became an employee, and she worked her way up to be in upper management and just retired. But starting as a volunteer is a great idea. That's what I would recommend.
So, can you tell me a little bit about like the legislation, like how does stuff get onto your agenda for you guys to discuss and vote on?
Oh, well, one of the ways it gets on the agenda is something like I just mentioned. If you get up and you say, I want, the duck pond has problems, can we talk about this duck pond? We'll put that on the agenda if somebody brings it up, especially if a lot of people bring it up. Now, if there's some issue and a lot of people show up at the meeting and talk about it, we've had that happen many times. This is a serious issue, you need to fix it. That's one way things get on the agenda. Another way things get on the agenda, if a board member wants to talk about something that they want fixed. We've had several board members say, I want to put this on the agenda for this reason. So that's that. Another is sometimes if staff is doing, like when staff is doing park maintenance or park construction, we need to get things approved. They need to get us to approve things. That's just part of how it works. So they'll put like that on the agenda. If there's we have to approve a contract or approve opening a bid or something. That's another way things get on the agenda. So those are the three main ways: are people in the community, board members, or staff members who put things on the agenda.
Okay, well, that's all the questions we have today. Thank you so much for coming and talk to us. I really appreciate having you on.
Oh,
Thank you.
good. Thank you for doing it.
This is Crime, brought to us by Linnea Chandler.
Hi, I'm Linnea Chandler, and I'll be reporting on some local crime happening in Simi Valley. On February 18th at approximately 7:45 p.m., 2 Rancho Simi Park and Recreation District employees arrived to Barrelwood Park, located near the new skate park. As the employees arrived to provide routine services to the facility, the entrance was blocked by a group of 10 to 12 juveniles ranging in ages 13 to 16 years old. When the employees asked the group to move, a confrontation ensued and led the group of juveniles to assault the 2 park employees. The suspects subsequently fled the area in an unknown direction. One of the victims sustained serious bodily injuries and was admitted to the local hospital. The other victim sustained minor injuries from the incident. Anyone with any information regarding this incident should call 805-583-6950. Again, that number is 805-583-6950 if you have any information.
To follow up on what Linnea said, I spoke to Dan Perenick. He's the district manager of the Rancho Simi Parks and Rec District, and he told me that the employees are doing well and that the police department is still investigating the incident, but in direct response, they'll be increasing the security in the neighborhood. What I thought was interesting, however, was their descriptions of the children in the report. As Rise Simi Valley so beautifully puts it, out of a group of 12, SVPD could only identify one minor as a Hispanic male juvenile approximately 15 years of age wearing a hooded sweatshirt. Rise went on to say, historically isolated and vague descriptions of people of color as perpetrators in a crime have often led to miscarriages of justice, leaving the victims without closure and allowing the true perpetrators to roam free. The description provided puts Latino youth at risk of racial profiling. We must seek justice without risking the safety of our BIPOC children. I mean, that's straight poetry. It reminds me of how Brian Gabler, our city manager, included the words racially diverse in a description of the group of preteens that spray painted the N-word next to a noose on a cement wall. If you want to see Rise's full post and more, you can follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rise Simi Valley.
Here's what's going on in Simi business. At this point, I think most of us are aware of the circumstances in Texas. They're in the midst of a storm like no other they've seen before. which has drastically increased the demand for natural gas heating. And with crude production facing a major slowdown, it's not looking too good. It's clear that no one, let alone native Texans, expected something like the weather to impact their daily lives so severely. I actually have a friend who lives in Texas, and I was talking to her right around when the storm first hit, and she couldn't get over how she just had a snowball fight like right outside her house. Though that fun was short-lived, like millions of Texans around her, her power was out for over 2 days. No running water, burning wood for heat in the freezing cold, and now that her power is back on, she has a mountain of schoolwork to attend to, juggling the rolling power outages that will without a doubt interfere. Like her, this storm season has affected so many people on an individual level. But the bigger question many are asking as a result of all this is, how does this affect us, especially in the long run? We know that at least 11 crude production centers, some of the largest in the country, have been shut down. We're losing almost 4 million barrels of crude per day, which is raising gas prices even for us here in Simi. In a new statement that AAA released on Thursday, February 18th, the national gas price average has already increased by 7 cents since Monday, and is expected to have increased by at least 10 cents by the end of February. A lot of this is a result of the fact that no one was really prepared for another disaster. We're still seeing impacts on our gas prices from COVID-19, but now we're looking at a possible national gas price average of $3, already surpassing last year's highest. It could be weeks until all these refineries reopen, and the longer they stay shut down, the more trouble it will be for the rest of the country. Looking at Texas's current state, it kind of reminds me of when we've had our power outages here in Simi. It's never been on this level, of course, but we have had our power shut off for days at a time with no help from our local government because of greed from a private power company called Southern California Edison. Simi Valley had an opportunity this year to move to 100% renewable energy, which could have solved a lot of our power outage problems, but our city council voted against it. Ruth Luevanos, an environmental advocate and previous guest speaker, who also serves on city council, is the one that asked for the city to move to 100% renewable energy in the first place. This would make renewable energy the default for power in Simi Valley, and people can then opt out if they choose so. There are 3 tiers of renewable energy that Simi Valley can have. The lowest tier is 36% renewable energy, the second is 50%, and the third is 100%. Unfortunately, the city council, minus Ruth of course, voted to keep the lowest tier possible. If we don't keep putting pressure on the city and Southern California Edison to update their equipment and put the power lines underground, we could be the next Texas. This song is Chillin' Vibe in the 805, brought to us by Murmur.
We vibe, we chill, we vibing and chill. We chill and vibe in the 805. Certified is no stranger to me, yet I still chill and vibe in the 805. Hiding and grinding while I'm still in the 805. Well, I still chill and vibe in the 805. 2 to 3 jobs, jump out to Hollywood to promote. It's no joke when you're broke, but I still chill and vibe in the 805. Hear the story I'm about to say. I stay in the SV, Simi Valley, where wannabes and real G's get shot with no publicity. And as a minority, I experienced university, not like where I stayed originally. Each corner had its own personality, and personally, I miss the mix of people I see. Then I moved down to this town, moved around in emotion, heavy on the potion. White was all I saw, was the only flaw, was my raw emotion. Now I'm lost in the 805, crossed the wrong boss in the 805, tossed the frost in the 805, watch my mode from the road in the 805. Who knew punchlines or punchlines when you're hot in the 805? I get by in the 805, while some get high in the 805. We vibe and chill, we vibing and chillin'. We chill and vibe in the 805. Surviving's no stranger to me, yet I still chill and vibe in the 805. Hiding and grinding while I'm still in the 805. While I still chill and vibe in the 805. 2 to 3 jobs, jump out to Hollywood to promote. It's no joke when you're broke, but I still chill and vibe in the 805. Let me take you back to my high school days, where I got by on my first day in high school. Yes, I was high in school. This thing comes up to the only other brown guy in class. Where I come from, your ass. If you wanna get down, there was no ass. get down. His task was to whip his ass along with a tattoo from the KK on this white dude's ass. He fucked the brown guy down to the ground. I found this goes down on the daily, yet never in the paper or the news. So the fact be abuse were just used as pawns to mow your lawns and for a woman to blow your spawns. Watch as I hold this fawn. I hope this wrong is worth this right as I spoke to reminisce on my bliss. It's obvious my wrongs were wrong, and I hope my wrongs will spark your rights. You fight for what you know is right. What you know is right. We vibe and chill. We vibing and chillin'. We chillin' and vibe in the 805. Surviving's no stranger to me, yet I still chill and vibe in the 805. Hiding and grinding while I'm stealing in the 805. While I still chill and vibe in the 805. 2 to 3 jobs, jump out to Hollywood to promote. It's no joke when you're broke, but I still chill and vibe in the 805. 805. 805. It's no joke when you live out here. Sometimes you gotta live in fear in your skin. If a different color, it doesn't matter. Keep your eyes open and stay hoping, cause we're all in this together. Whether you're smoking or not, I hope you hear these words that were spoken.
Thank you. You can find more of his music on Spotify, and you can follow him on Instagram at MURR999.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 8 of Radio Simi. Remember, if you want us to play your song, share your story, or feature your graphic art, reach out to us at tiny.cc/radiosimiforum.
If you've enjoyed today's episode, please consider leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribing to our YouTube channel.
Thank you, and Happy Lunar New Year.